One of the things that universally pisses people off is when they're eating their salad, trying to be healthy, and then they look over and they see a skinny guy eating all this junk food. I mean, I want what he's having. So I eat about a 2,000 calorie lunch every single day, and my body fat percentage is around 10%. So it's not perfect, it's not great, but I'm pretty happy with it. Now, a lot of people are quick to say that it's because of a fast metabolism or genetics or something like that, why some people can eat so much and not ever gain weight. But I'm here to tell you that a lot of people can put their body into that state of having a faster metabolism. They're just doing the wrong things. So your metabolism is basically all of the different reactions that are going on in your body. So some of these reactions will work to start building things up and store energy for later. And some of these reactions will start breaking things down because you need that energy now. Now the goal is you want to start being in a state where you're breaking things down more often. Well, how can you do that? Well, it's actually kind of simple, but it's not that easy. So you got to control one hormone in particular. And this hormone is called insulin. So your insulin is this hormone. And anytime you eat, this insulin will spike and it'll start storing energy and storing fat. And anytime you take a break from eating, it'll start coming down. And when your insulin is high, this is what mimics having a slow metabolism, especially when this insulin is high for a long period of time. So this is a typical graph of what it would look like if someone ate 3 meals a day and not anything in between. And this is what it would look like if we were measuring their insulin levels. So their insulin levels would start out low, and then when you eat breakfast, it would go up, and then you wait about 2 to 3 hours, and the insulin would come down, and then during lunchtime, it would go up again. Again, wait 2 to 3 hours, and then dinner time, and it goes up again. That's like a typical rough graph of what a typical insulin chart should look like. Now, one thing you gotta understand is a lot of people have built up years and years of damage to their body. And a lot of people now in the United States specifically are either pre-diabetics or diabetic. So their insulin chart will not look like this. Instead, a lot of people's insulin will look more like this, where after they eat, it doesn't come down a whole lot, and it actually stays pretty high, and then you eat again, and then same thing, it doesn't really come down, and then you eat again. Now, why is that the case? Well, one reason is a lot of people simply don't give their body time for their insulin to come down. So instead of just eating 3 meals, now someone could eat breakfast, and then they decided to start snacking throughout the day, and then they eat lunch, and they start snacking throughout the day again, then they eat dinner. When you keep snacking throughout the day, you're not giving your body time for that insulin to come down. Instead, it's gonna stay high and stay in this fat storing state. So no matter what, it's gonna be really hard for you to lose that fat. And now what happens is, instead of going and spiking like this, like normal, your insulin's gonna have to start spiking even higher. And the reason is insulin resistance. When you have this high insulin for a long period of time, and many years like a lot of people do, then your body simply does not react to insulin as well. And that's why you need more and more insulin release to get that same effect. But that also means it's gonna be harder and harder for you to lose weight. So reversing this takes time, but it is possible. One of the biggest things that triggers an insulin release is sugar, specifically refined carbohydrates. So you want to avoid foods like white bread, crackers, Cheetos, goldfish. All those foods are going to have a really high insulin response in your body. And especially if you're snacking on those foods throughout the day, you're really not going to have any time for that insulin to come down. Now, what are you supposed to do to get yourself out of this state and get yourself in a normal state again? Well, the first thing you need to do is start treating yourself like a new puppy. So when you get a new puppy and you give it a bag of food, what does it do? Well, it's gonna start eating it, right? And it's not gonna know when to stop eating. So instead, you give that puppy specific eating times, and you start portioning out its meals, and you say you're only gonna eat at these specific times. You need to treat your body the exact same way. At first, it's gonna be really hard. You might be hungry throughout the day, you might feel like you need to start snacking, but after a while, your body will start to get used to it, and it'll start to get more and more into that normal state where your insulin can start coming down. So one popular thing is fasting. So there's many different types of fasting out there. Some people try to go a whole day or even longer by just fasting and not eating anything. Some people try intermittent fasting, where they're only eating at specific times throughout the day. That's kind of what I do. So I eat my lunch at around 1 or 2 p.m., and then I have a dinner, a little bit smaller dinner, around 7 or 8 p.m. And then I don't eat anything else for the rest of the day. and I don't really snack throughout the day either. And also, you really have to start exercising. If you're already exercising, that's great. But if you want to lose weight, you need to start exercising in a way that's going to promote fat loss. So two of the biggest things are HIIT, or high intensity interval training, or resistance training. Both of these have been shown to increase fat loss. And I'm actually going to link a couple studies below where it was talking about just that. And again, what you're eating matters as well. You want to really avoid those refined carbohydrates. Those are probably the worst foods you could be putting in your body. Also, you want to limit your intake of saturated fats. So with saturated fats, there's a lot of studies that show that you want to limit it to about 10% of your total calories. So you can still eat it, you just don't want to eat too much of it. So one really easy way to do this is to start getting rid of those processed foods from your diet. So get rid of hot dogs or sausages or things like that. You want to stick with a lot of clean foods. So that means getting a lot of fruits and veggies, organic, natural sources of protein, and also good sources of carbs. So instead of eating those refined carbs, start eating more whole grains. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked that video. And if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel below. I will see you in the next video.